Good morning. How is everybody doing? Happy Wednesday. Today is Gratitude Wednesday, a day that we take time to be grateful for all the things that, the good things that have happened to us. So my name is Penny, if you're finding me for the first time. And if you've not liked my page, please do that. And when you come in, do me a favor, share this video and invite your friends from around the world, because we just talk about generous stuff, daily living, and to encourage people that, you're not the only one going through things. We are all going through something, and we are regular people. We are not powered by CNN or any other channel. Just a regular person on Facebook trying to encourage one person, not two, one person. Okay, so share this video. I was trying to find my page so I can pin it. It looks like I can't find it. Let me see. It's right there. Let me do the reel. Okay. Oh my goodness, it's hot. Ooh, I have to put the air. It is extremely hot. So, today I want to talk about our children. There's something happening to our children, especially our immigrant children. Children born to immigrants in the United States of America. I don't know about other countries, but I want to speak about America. There's a crisis that is going on. Our children, a lot of our children are not attending college. So you can imagine, for some of us who've been here for 30 years, the children that were born at 30 years old, you can imagine that. Oh, husband, thank you so much. The child that was born when I came in 1993 is 30 years old. And since then, I have seen a lot of children being born. And what I want to talk about today is parents who live in America, or immigrant parents who moved here and are so busy investing back home, and they are not supporting their children, or they are not raising their children. And in the process, good morning, and in the process, they are losing their children. There are so many parents. I've spoken to parents who are telling me that these children are born here. They should be able to take student loans like Americans and go to school. But what these parents are forgetting, that their parents took them to school. If you came from another country, your parents probably took you to school. So we migrate here where school is basically free from 1st grade to 12th grade. The only time you have to pay for school is college. And here we are telling our children, immigrant children, to take student loans. Meanwhile, we have bought plots. We have done investments in Kenya. Meanwhile, we are educating our brothers and sisters' children back home. Meanwhile, we are giving the community money. We are sending money everywhere. And we are telling our children to take student loans to go to college. And some of us are working so much, we don't even have time to raise the children. I can tell you, as a present parent, I was there for my children, but still the children came up with challenges. Okay, yeah, let me pin this. Actually, this is the right one. Came to the one you. Our children are still struggling, and I was a present mom. So you can imagine, some of you parents came here as adults. This air, it is hot. You can imagine that I was present for my children, and I was intentional about raising my children, or rather our children. And yet our children are facing a lot of challenges. So you think about some of you, Audrey, how are you? Some of you who are always working, some of you adult parents went back to school. You had children and you stopped raising your children, you went back to school. after you went back to school, especially those ones who went into nursing or into a career that allows you guys to do overtime. So once you get that money, you're no longer available for your children. You're working doubles. Some of you are like living a very expensive life. You have a nice home, you drive nice cars, but you're literally at work. Here at my place of work, I watch the nurses run up and down. Their overtime roster is filled with their names. And these people are raising children. You are raising children. Your parents raised you and took you to school. And here you are in this developed country where you are not going to really grow America. You're not going to change much because the country is developed. You just needed to slow down and raise your children. You're so busy trying to do all these projects. And half the time your money is never accounted for because you're working overtime and you're not planning for that money because, for instance, I'm told nurses make $25 and plus an hour. So they're constantly working. And in Kenya, the flip side to that, in Kenya, the parents are busy working and they are letting the house helps raise their children. Back in our days, our mothers raised us. That's who we are. But now, Yobe shower you. Now, we are leaving the children to be raised by the cell phones, by the TV. Children do not come with a manual. Children do not come with a structure. Children do not come with the discipline. They are not born with discipline. You have to be there. Children do not make the house rules. You make the house rules and reinforce them. Children have to eat healthy. Some of your children are eating fast food every day. You people have no time to sit down with your children and eat, even have a meal, make fresh food. Some of you have never taken your children to the shop. You're always working double shifts. You've never taken your children shopping. They don't know where the food comes from. You're always rushing because you're picking hours here and there. Some of you, as soon as your children turn 16, you put them to work. And when they get this money, that money is never accounted for. You don't ask your children, where is the money? You don't even have time to teach your children to manage money. Leave alone you telling them to go take student loans. They are not accounting for that money. Some of you don't even look at the children's progress reports. Do you know how your children are performing? Your children are failing classes. Some of you don't even attend parent-teacher conference because that's when the overtime is there. During the holidays in America, that is when most parents are out there with their children doing activities. But we, the immigrant parents, our names are always on the roster on holidays. I decided since I had the children, I made a decision and it's never changed my financial stability. I don't work on holidays. I've never worked on holidays. Why should I? On holidays, it means the children are home. We are either going to have a barbecue or we are going to go to a park. I'm intentional. Because you know what? I have lived here long enough to see children crying for their parents who are always working. There's a lot of cultural differences that is very visible with my children. I see my kids struggling with me being Kenyan and them being American. Especially the sleepovers. Aggie, good morning. My kids want to do a sleepover. I'm like, no, I don't know where. You're not going to go sleep there. And when I come back to myself, I ask myself, if me, Penny, who's been present for my children, 100%, literally, I have been there for the kids. And the children are struggling. I can't imagine these parents who are always working. And when the kids finish high school, you're telling your children to go take student loans. I have a few kids that I know, Kenyan American children, paying for themselves to go to college. And the parents are busy investing back home. These children are working. They're working full time. And they're going to school. I totally understand that part where you're saying they have to be responsible. But let me tell you, if you don't have those strong-willed children, what's going to happen to the children who are not strong-willed? While you're at work, some of you, especially Texas, when I went to Texas, it's like every house has a camera, which was so disturbing, but hey, that's what they want to do. They've installed cameras in the bedrooms, in the driveway, there's cameras everywhere, monitoring the children from work. The children know where the cameras are. The children know the cameras are in the house. What is the cameras going to do to you? And guess what? These children they start smoking weed at probably 10, 12. These kids are watching porn. These kids are being shown things by other kids because you're dropping them at the babysitter. Then some of you go and get these grandmas to come watch the children for you. You call them nannies. How is a nanny going to raise your children for you? In my church, Fountain of Life, something I learned in that church when I started going to that church. There are educated women in that church. Doctors, nurses, teachers. That church has the most educated women, pharmacists. And these women, let me tell you, when they had the children, they stopped their career to raise their children and started living on a single income. And they are giving the 10%. And guess what? I've been in that church probably 18 years now. When their youngest child went to college, these parents went back to work because their degree doesn't expire. Their knowledge doesn't expire. And some of them volunteered at the church. They were there serving God with their children. And these kids have done so well. I'm looking at these kids, I'm like, my God, because I came there when these kids were like teens. The parents are there with them, raising them. When they finished, they went back. And for those ones who are married, their spouse income was taking care of the bills. If you're a single parent, your ball game is different. There's a different way you can work it out and you're present for your children. Or you can also join a community where they can help you raise your children. The drugs and alcohol is available for our children. Your children are dating the babysitter's children. Your children are trying sex with the babysitter's children because you know what? You're never there. What are you going to gain from working overtime, building homes, sending money home, buying nice clothes, driving an expensive car, all these things you're doing, and yet you're not present for your children? What's your future going to look like? Now, money management, because most of us are always working, we don't even teach the children how to manage the money. A lot of these children, they make money and they just blow it just like mommy and daddy. You don't teach children by just verbally saying. You have to teach the children by example, by modeling what you're teaching. They're not just going to be, they're watching you. Who are the people that you put in place to mentor your children when things are going south? And guess what? I'm saying it again. I'm struggling as a present mom. I can't imagine you absent mom, what you're going to have to deal with in the future. Because your children are going to tell you how you were never there. While my children are telling me I was too present, your children are going to be like, you know what, where were you? I don't know you. Who talks to your kids? Are your children your priority? Look at what you're doing. Look at your schedule. Sit down on your calendar and just look at your time management. When was the last time you took the kids to the zoo? Now, some of you immigrant parents have never taken your children to your home countries where you came from. Your children don't know the struggle. Some of you immigrant parents do not take your children on vacation. Some of you immigrant parents do not take your children to these extracurricular activities where your children can learn how to swim. Can your kids skate? Have your children been to Disney? Disney is there. People fly from all over the world to come to Disney. You're here. You've never taken your children to Disney just for the kids to see a vacation, just a weekend. Because you're so busy building that big house. Because you want to show people in your village that you made it. And let me tell you, there's nothing wrong with investing from where you're coming from. Ask yourself, if you fell sick today, if you got into a car accident today, how quickly are you going to sell that house from Nyamataro? How quickly are you going to sell that house in Syokimau? All those investments you've done in your country, how quickly are you going to dispose them so you can take care of yourself and pay your mortgage? You move from your country to this country, you've refused to pick up a few things from here. Invest in stocks. Invest where you can see your money, where you can dispose your money. You're sending all this money home through the M-Pesa, through Wave, sending your relatives, because you know what? You're craving for people to praise you. You're craving for people to like you. You're craving for people to say that, oh, so and so went to America, they're doing great. And yet, you've neglected your own children, and yet you've neglected your own wife, and yet you've neglected your own husband. America was built before you came. This is a developed country. And guess what? Your working overtime is not going to make it a better place, especially after you have children. The last thing, people think that children just come. If you're a young person, you don't have children yet, I want to tell you, children don't just come. You have to plan to have children. I'm a strong believer of having planned children. Unless you're struggling with fertility, and you're struggling with fertility, that means you've told your spouse that you're struggling with fertility. You have somebody you're having children with. This thing of just getting pregnant, suddenly getting pregnant, I don't subscribe to that. You don't just get pregnant and you tell a man that, oh, you know what, I'm pregnant. I do not subscribe to that. We who were born in the 70s have a choice of having children. Plan your children. Decide if you want to have 2 or 3 children. Tell the person that you are making children with that you're going to have children. Let us move from the generation where we're just having children. Don't just have children. I wanted to have all my children during the summer, so I didn't struggle. I am blessed that way, that I was able to plan all my 4 pregnancies. I did not just become pregnant, and it is a choice. And I'm blessed that I was able to do that. And people can do that. Don't just suddenly get pregnant, because children are very, very difficult to deal with. And if you don't have somebody to support you, you're not going to make it. Co-parenting, that you don't just surprise somebody that you're pregnant. That is something that is supposed to be something of the past, our mother's time. We have a choice to have children. You don't just tell someone that, oh, God has given us children. No, no, no. God has given you a brain. Take your birth control. Be intentional. Have children that you can support. Now that I have 3 children in college, I'm struggling. And why am I struggling? Because when I came, for those of us who came here as students, we know the struggle. We know how hard it was. And when I look at my children, if I told them to just go to school, I don't know if they were just going to go to school. But it's important for me to make sure that they go to school. And guess what? In my career or where I have been, a position has passed me, or positions will pass you because you don't have a bachelor's degree. You're going to miss out in life. This degree is not everything. Yes, we agree. But entrepreneurship without a degree is not everything either. Let the children just have that degree. Tell them, bring it. Because you know what? You're raising these children. Some of you, your children are literally sleeping in the house, waking up and sleeping. Tell them to bring it. Let them know from kindergarten that you're going to college. You have to get used to telling your children at a young age that you're going to college, you're going to college. You need to repeat that so many times so they know. Let them bring that bachelor's, and then they can do whatever they want to do. The bachelor's should be, a bachelor's degree should be like a high school diploma. They might not want to. College is not for everybody. If it's not, trade school is an option. Not everybody can go to college, but give them that option. If they want to cook, let them cook. If they want to start a cleaning company, let them start a clean. But we need to have a clear plan. What is your future like? College is not for you. Okay, so what are we doing? We have to model good behavior, and we have to model discipline if we are expecting our children to succeed in whatever they are doing. So parents, re-evaluate. Immigrant parents, re-evaluate yourself and what you're doing with your money and how many hours you're working. And you will thank me later. A few years from now, you're going to thank me. Because you know what? Time lost will never be found. Thank you for watching this video. Share this video. And thanks for everyone that has been sharing my videos. And I told you Kemunto was the winner for 10,000 shillings for Friday. I'm yet to send that money, Kemunto. I've not had a chance because she's been helping me share most of my videos. And I have to reward her for that because we want to speak to as many regular people as possible. We are all struggling and we can learn from each other. Hey, Grace. Cheers, guys.